Hey, what is up guys, Smithy back for another video, and today we're going to be playing Grixis Shadow. So I'm just going to go over the main deck quickly. We're running 4, 8, 12 fetches, 2 Watery Grave, 2 Blood Crypt, and a Steam Vents with 2 basics. Pretty simple mana base. I think everyone's used to that mana base by now. The only difference is I'm playing 1 Flooded Strand over a 4th Scalding Tarn just because I didn't have the extra Scalding Tarn, so Flooded Strand is pretty close considering we're pretty much always getting Shocklands anyway. And then for creatures, we're playing 4 Death Shadow, 4 Snapcaster Mage, 2 Tasigur. If you're not familiar, there's Tasigur, and 2 Gurmag Angler, along with the obvious 4 Street Wraiths. This deck is incredibly mana intensive, and but it's got a very low curve. So we're playing 4 Serum Visions, 3 Stubborn Denial, 4 Thought Scour, 4 Fatal Push, 2 Inquisition of Kozilek, and 4 Thoughtseize. Again, this list is pretty well known by at this point. Like pretty much everyone is playing this main deck at least, or very similar. Occasionally people play a couple of Lilianas. It could be of the Last Hope or of the Veil, and they typically get replaced by the Kolaghan's commands, but I generally prefer the Kolaghan's commands because they have so much utility compared to the Planeswalkers, and also that they help you grind so efficiently with Snapcaster Mages that I actually prefer them over the Planeswalkers. And we're also playing 2 Terminate as well. So that's the main deck. I don't think there's anything special here. Like if you look up a Grixis list, this is pretty much what you're going to see. Main deck. And then heading over to the sideboard. So I'm testing out a bunch of different cards in the sideboard that typically have other replacements. So we're playing 2 Dispel and 1 Stubborn Denial. This is for any decks that we need to play with counter magic. So things like Dispel is really good against other control decks or things like that. And the Stubborn Denial is there's just so many good targets for it as well. We're playing 2 Duress over the what people normally run, which is Collective Brutality. The reason I've chosen to play Duress over it is because Collective Brutality is incredible against burn, whereas Duress is better against like control decks and things, because the difference between a turn 1 Duress and a turn 2 Collective Brutality is huge, like against a control deck. And I thought that I want to test out Duress. It's also a lot easier to use with Snapcaster Mages because you can go like turn 1 Duress and then turn 3 Snapcaster Duress. Obviously, Collective Brutality is so much stronger in the burn matchup, but besides that, I actually think Duress isn't that far off. So I just want to test it out. Again, I think it's better against control decks, which is why I want to try that. 1 by Force. I think quite a lot of people are actually playing this now, but yeah, the other options are things like Shattering Spree. Shattering Spree is 1 red, destroy an artifact with Replicate, so you can basically pay like 4 red and you can destroy 4 artifacts. The upside of Shattering Spree is it's easier with Snapcaster Mage because you can just go like Snapcaster Mage and then Shattering Spree like one artifact. So basically it's just more mana efficient to use Shattering Spree, but Byforce has a lot more potential because you don't need lots of red sources. This deck is very light on red. It's got like 2 Kolaghan's commands and 2 Terminates in the main deck, and that's it. So being able to pay lots of red with Shattering Spree is pretty difficult, whereas Byforce you only need 1 red, which is nice. But as I said, it's a little bit harder to pull off with Snapcaster Mage. We're playing 1 Dreadbore. Dreadbore is just a great removal spell. It's good against mid-range decks where they bring in all their Planeswalkers to get extra value. We're playing 3 Spell Bombs. This is just for things like Dredge and any decks using their graveyard. 3 Rejection. This is good for against Affinity, and it's also just fine against it's really good against Tron and things like that as well. And then we're also playing 2 Flaying Tendrils. A lot of people play Anger of the Gods, but the problem with Anger of the Gods is, same with Shattering Spree, is it's double red, whereas Flaying Tendrils is double black. It doesn't very often come up that the extra 1, because Anger of the Gods deals 3 damage to all creatures, whereas Flaying Tendrils gives them all -2/-2. It doesn't come up too relevant. The extra 1 damage, it's like this still gets rid of things like Kitchen Finks permanently. But there are a couple of creatures that it does come up against, but I think that the saving the extra life is more relevant, which is why I'm choosing, or it's at least easier to cast as well. So that's why I'm choosing to play Flaying Tendrils, because I think it's the upside of it being easier to cast is worth the downside of not hitting. Like I think there's like 2 creatures in Modern that we actually care about that it doesn't hit. So yeah, that's going to be the main deck. Let's hop over into a league, and I'll see you there. Peace.